All right. Welcome everyone to another episode of Omchain Talks. We have amazing guests today. I'll be just inviting them right now. I hope everyone can hear me loud and clear. It's kind of 1 a.m. for me right now, so if I sound tired, no worries. It's because it's a bit late. Wolfie, can you hear me? Bubblegum Lightning, could you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yep. All good. Awesome.
excellent.
So let's see what do we have here. Right, so basically, as the title says, we could be waiting for a few minutes, but I just want to have a little introduction before we actually get to the topic. Today we'll be talking about blockchain technology and BlockDAG. Am I pronouncing it right? Should I say BlockDAG? Like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
BlockDAG.
all right.
yep.
I'm not a native English speaker, so I might sometimes, you know, have some
Hey,
problem
you,
with
you sound great
pronunciation.
so far, man.
All
Yeah,
right,
you're doing
thanks
great.
a lot. So before we get started with our topic, first I would like to get to know you guys better because we couldn't talk too much. We didn't have much time to, get to know each other. So I think it would be only fair for the listeners of this Twitter space to get to know you guys better. So do we have a volunteer? Wolfie, you want to introduce yourself first, or Bubblegum, you want to go first?
Uh,
Yeah, I can take it.
yeah, go ahead.
So I'm Bubblegum Lightning. My media, I run the Kaspa Medium and do the copywriting for Kaspa in general. So the Coin Market Cap articles, Medium articles, and the Kaspa.org, the Kaspa.org news articles are written by me under the published name of Nathaniel Crowning Shield. So I'm doxed. That's my real name. I pretty much do the written portion of mostly everything Caspa. However, I do like a kind of jack of all trades role. I work with Wolfie a lot on integrations with the devs a lot. I do a lot of marketing stuff and then some operational stuff here and there. But my title is PR manager, but this is self proclaimed, as you're going to find out. We don't really have titles because we're truly decentralized. We don't have a team. We have no foundation, no organization, or anything like that. So I say that I'm a PR manager, as in the form of, hey, you can come to me if you have a PR question. That's like my skill set. I can put you in the right direction, but I'm no pro and I don't get paid or anything. This is all voluntary and we're all just contributors. And that goes for like the core devs as well.
All right, so
But yeah,
let me just interrupt you for a second because one thing you said was really interesting. Like, I mean, I want to get to know you better. I also want the audience to get to know you better as well. But one thing that you said was very interesting. Like, you said that it's a community project and there is no central authority, so like how did you get involved with the caspa if there is like no central authority, no foundation, nothing? Like, I am just asking because maybe there are some other listeners right now, there will be some other people listening from YouTube, and they would want to be included with the caspa as well. So like could you tell us a bit more about how did you get involved with the blockchain, and then how did you find the caspa, and then how things go from there.
okay,
Sorry
so
for interrupting you.
if you want me to start with blockchain specifically, I started, I don't know, God, like 8 years ago, I would say, investing in various things and never really got involved in anything until I found Caspa. And the way that I personally got involved with Caspa is I invested around the merge area, and it was probably about December when I started looking for more research and materials that are kind of approachable. And I noticed that we didn't have a Medium account for Caspa, so I pretty much volunteered. I started writing some articles, had some people proofread it, and it just kind of caught fire. Community loved it. They used it as source material as time went on. They started researching it and referring to it more and more. So the best way to get involved, at least in my experience of what I've seen, is just by partaking. Like, get involved, do something that helps to contribute. If you do something that's worthwhile, the community will bite onto it and they will, promote it and encourage you to do more of such things. If you're looking to like have a paid service, there is crowdfunding that takes place, and you can pitch promotions, and that happens. We're working on a Ledger integration right now where this happened. But pretty much, yeah, you got to get put the elbow grease in. You just got to go in and do the work, and if the community approves, they'll encourage you to do more of it. If not, then it'll fade. It's very much community governed. So if the community is okay with it, you'll probably do more. If not, then well, so be it.
Yeah, that's really awesome. One thing that I was wondering, like, if you're talking about your community, is it like majorly based in Europe and US, or like are you more global, or like where are the community members from? If you're talking about statistics, I mean, if you know it, because one thing that we have been trying to adopt is the involvement of community is something that we wish to see on Omchain as well. But we launched in Turkey, and then we got some exposure in some Asian countries, and then we realized that often the community members are expecting us to do most of the job. I mean, as the developers, I mean, I'm a software developer as well. I do most of the job as well, but we provide a voting platform. Just like you said, we're developing a funding platform. We have an active forum that's going on, but we seem to couldn't be kicking it off. So I was just like, this is my personal curiosity. Like, how did things get started? I mean, like, when you first joined the Kaspa, was it already in that situation, or you joined and then you published some articles, and then more and more people started joining and learning about the project, or like did the devs do something different? I mean, like, what do you think is the ignition point of the Casper currency and community involvement?
So let's. I'm actually going to hand this over to Wolfie. Wolfie's been here
Sure.
longer. He was actually
Yeah,
part of
yeah.
the inception. So I think this would be a good time for him to do his introduction and then segue into that.
Nice. Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Bubblegum, and thank you for hosting. You do a super good job, and very interesting questions and engaging. So me myself, I am a businessman in Southern California. Have a lot of experience with traditional types of businesses for a long, long time. So I personally started mining Bitcoin in 2011 when it was just $7, and it was kind of like a nothing. It was nothing special. Nobody knew it was ever going to turn into anything. And then I got kind of sick of it, and the difficulty went up. I wasn't getting 1 Bitcoin in 5 days anymore, so I shut it off and I sold my video cards. That was mistake number one. Anyway, but it's pretty funny. So I was when it started going crazy in 2017, I knew I had to get back into the game somehow, and I was fortunate to recognize that Bitcoin was already like it was an acorn in 2011 when I first was getting it, but it was already a big oak tree by the time 2017 rolled around, and I knew that Bitcoin itself wasn't going to take me where I really wanted to go. So I started looking into alternate currencies in crypto, and I found a couple of cool projects, and they were proof of work. And I began to be a moderator in some rooms of all other, OG coins from, the teens, like 2014, 2017 and stuff, that time frame. And I got to really know, a good amount for not being a software developer about what makes something a real coin and what makes something not a real coin, like a clone or a token or whatever. That doesn't really have anything to it other than a picture or something or a cool name and promises from a white paper that's meaningless. So that was good. I raised myself and educated myself by participating on a daily basis since 2017. And I made some good friends along the way. One of them's a fantastic guy. That's one of our moderators. His name is Jimbo. And Jimbo and I participated in some great CPU mining coins like in 2018 and 2019 and stuff. And so we stayed friends and we met up on multiple projects. So like we kept meeting back up on new little projects, you know, that were mineable. And so then one day in November 2021, it was like it's like the 25th of November 2021. So like a year and a half ago, he's like, "Hey man, I found this interesting project. Yeah, they're trying to do something different." And I go, "Oh, okay, buddy. Yeah, sure it is. Yeah, okay. What is it this time?" I'm being mean. No, I wasn't like that. No, Jimbo's sharp and he knows when something's pretty good. He has a pretty good eye. So anyway, so he tells me about Kaspa, and I look at it and I see these more than one block happening at the same time, and my instinct went like, okay, this is something somebody's screwing around with like a Bitcoin clone, and they figured out a way how to like allow orphans and like make this cool looking thing where there's like 4 blocks at the same time sometimes, but the network's going to break. There's no way this thing's going to last for more than like a week. It's going to break and split off and fork, and nobody's going to be able to fix it, and it's going to go to zero. That was like my gut from like watching shitcoins for like 6 years in a row, 24 hours a day. Then a few minutes later, I heard like, "Oh yeah, the founders is mentioned in the Ethereum white paper," and I go, "Huh, wait a second, maybe there's something to this, you know?" And then a couple minutes later, I heard, "Yeah, that guy who made up the coin, Kaspa, his name is Jonathan Sampolinsky, and he's studying, he's researching at Harvard now." I was like, "Wow, well." If there's anybody in the world that could make something like this crazy network work, it would probably be a guy who's in the Ethereum white paper and is studying at Harvard. So then I started really paying attention, and I was like, holy smokes, this does look like something revolutionary. So I began to know the guys, and I quickly realized there was this gap. You know, the guys, when you were asking about the geographic location, the guys who wrote the initial software and the founder, they are from Israel. So that's the country of origin for the project is Israeli. So I noticed that these fantastic gentlemen were so sharp and so had dedicated their lives to research and studying and learning, and that they spent so much time in that arena that they didn't have so much experience with the DGen like Telegram chat room world. So I did, and I quickly realized that there was an opportunity to insert myself as a little bit of a buffer in between the good old pals and crazy people from traders and hodlers and all those guys that we love and put up with sometimes, some of them, but and the guys who created the project of Kaspa. So I volunteered my services, just like Bubblegum, and they gave me a shot, and I began being an admin in the main Telegram room. Then they saw I did a good job in a couple days or a couple weeks. They added me to Discord. Then as time went on and I saw like how much work it is and the weird stuff that goes on with becoming listed on platforms and like exchanges and mining pools and all that stuff, I began to realize like, hey, maybe some of my decades of business experience in traditional business and experience in negotiating might be useful in trying to negotiate with these these type of businesses. Because even though crypto is decentralized, right, and Kaspa is decentralized, it doesn't mean that the platforms we want to appear on are decentralized. They're not. They're businesses, so they have contracts, they have NDAs, non-disclosure agreements. They have, a lot of things, meetings, Zoom, directors of trading, head of listings and listing committees. There's a procedure. And so having, business sense and tact in a business setting, I put that experience and those characteristics to work for Kaspa, and self-proclaimed myself as director of business development. So there are other people that do a fantastic job that do the same thing as me, and they can also be the director if they want. They can be the vice president of business development. They can be the president. They can be the chief business, chief listing officer. They can be anything they want. That's what's so cool about decentralized. You know what I mean? So that's the story. And then how it grew, the community. So like I mentioned, the original technology is from Israel. We have other developers though that have joined from all over the world. We have guys from Turkey, we have guys from Germany, guys from Russia, guys from the United States, guys from some South American countries, I believe, all of whom and many more, and China. China has made up some great stuff. They all write their own stuff, like a Block Explorer. We have Kaspa games, like games that actually demonstrate the very fast transaction time and lots of cool stuff. So we have people from all over the world working on it, and then it even gets bigger when we talk about the holders, the hodlers, and the fans and the traders and the people who love the technology and tweet about us, the Caspa army. I mean, we probably have 30 or 35 different language rooms in Telegram. So we have like a Persian channel. We have like an Arabic channel. We have France. We have the Philippines. We have Canada or whatever. We have them from all over the place. There's a big list. So that grew by itself too. Complete organic growth. So it's really neat. Everything about us is organic growth, and that's the slow and steady wins the race. Is really the ticket here.
Yeah, one thing I can agree is exactly that. I mean, when you mentioned about your background and history, and you coming from Bitcoin mining and looking for other proof of work currencies, I can kind of relate to that because I was more or less into Bitcoin like 10 years ago, 11 years ago, I can say. I've been the same way. I have been through the same path. I was also looking for things to mine, and then I found out crypto node protocols, Monero, some other privacy based coins, and so on. So, but one thing I realized is that if the community kind of likes the project, if you are really offering some innovation, and if your project has some, how do I say, value or some benefit to the end user, over time some people actually pick it up. So I think that's the case for both you and the Bubblegum, because you found something, or maybe one of your friends told you that there's something like that, and then you dive deep into it, and then you realize, hey, wait a minute, this could be something that's valuable in the future, and then you stick to it, and then now rest is history. So I think for anyone who's listening here right now, I think those things are very important because often we see in the crypto space right now. I can say that maybe 7 years ago, 8 years ago, everything was on Bitcoin Talk. You would go there to find some new cryptocurrencies, new coins to mine, or some new projects, new ideas. I mean, they were also often some. I don't want to say shitcoin, but they were also often shitcoins, people forking things, and then people forking those things. I mean, you remember, right? If you hang out on the Bitcoin Talk forums.
Yep.
Um, yeah. So, and then, but now I'm realizing that it became more and more mainstream. If you go to Coin Market Cap right now and see the recent listings, there are a lot of tokens that are cloning a lot of things from different other projects. No value. Everything is, so everyone is so hyped up. They're like, let's have this project. Let's get it listed on 5, 10 different exchanges. Let's trade it for a few weeks, and then it goes down. No worries, bag holders gonna be holding their bags for like many years, and then say it's gonna go up, it's gonna go up. Sorry to tell you guys, but it's not gonna go up. But again, it became really hard for people to find actual valuable projects, because often people around me as well are saying, hey, there is this project that is very new, but it's getting listed on 10 different exchanges at the same time. And
Sure.
I'm asking, you guys know it as well. I mean, I'm asking, like, blockchain technology came out to have a technology that does not need any trusted third parties. This was the Bitcoin's promise. And then the privacy coins out there, and then the smart contract platforms out there. all of them had different promises. But I am looking at the recently released projects. I'm like, is this serving my purpose? No, it's just something that is, I think, more or less no different than gambling in my mind. This is just something that people hope that it makes them money. People just hopes that people just hope that they can make money from holding or trading those tokens. But again, it's really nice to see that there are new concepts and new projects and new technologies being built. Because just like you said, I mean, like the guy was on the Ethereum white paper. I mean, why did he build something different? Why? Clearly, I think from my point of view, clearly he saw that something was missing on the Ethereum tech stack. He saw some gap in the market, and he was like, hey, this is what we need, let's
Sure.
just go and build that. So that actually brings the topic to today's topic. So since BlockDAG is not known by most of the people, I'm not gonna say like it's something unknown. I'm not gonna say it's something completely out of world. But usually people associate cryptocurrencies with blockchain technology and not the block DAG. So when you guys were first, trying to grow the community or promote the project, or even write articles about the block DAG protocol or how BlockDAG works. What were the major problems that you were facing? Because in people's minds, it's like if you have your own blockchain, it's a coin, and if you're using another blockchain, then it's a token. And then even some people invest based on those ideas as well. So, could you tell us? I mean, I am also curious. That's why I'm saying tell us. Could you tell us a bit more about the tech stack and how things got evolved and what's the community's view on the technology?
Sure. So, well, first, just you mentioned blockchain, right? And I think that the topic is actually set to blockchain. Oops, puppy. That's somebody's dog. Anyway, no worries. Yeah, blockchain and BlockDAG, right? So, blockchain is obviously Bitcoin was the originator of that, and it's the granddaddy, the digital gold. And if you think of the blockchain, it's just a straight line in time with one little dot every 10 minutes, and that's your block with the transactions in there. And that was a great start for 2009. And then people did things to it like added privacy, like right, and stealth addresses, and they sped up the block time. But it was still just one dot at a time, one dot at a time on a line. So what BlockDAG is it it allows parallel blocks and orders them in consensus. So you can have miners all over the world solving blocks, and they only need to be they only point to the blocks, the other blocks they're aware of. So you get this awesome kind of like convulsing web of blocks. Like it goes from one block to two to one to four to five to three to two to three to one. Like it just, you can see it live on kgi.kaspad, KASPAD.net. You can see our network and see what's going on. So the concept of more than one at a time is kind of famous in technological advancements or technological breakthroughs in history. Like if you consider like a really simple one from like over 100 years ago, if you think of just the first engine that ran on gasoline, internal combustion engine, it only had one cylinder, one piston, one spark plug, right? And it didn't make that much power, but it was cool because you could, have like a horse that you didn't have to feed really, and you didn't have to walk them, and you didn't have to clean up the poop. So it did the work of an animal, but all you had to do was pour this liquid in there and then start it up. So that was neat. And then after some amount of time, it might have been 5 years, 10, 20 years, someone was like, hey, maybe it could be like more animals if we have more cylinders. So they probably made a twin 2-cylinder, right? Maybe a 4. I don't even know the exact history. But anyway, over time, they added more and more and more. So, and now there's V8s, V12s, right? So there are these huge engines, and they make, unimaginably more power than the first engine right? Because they had more than one. So Kaspa allows more than one at the same time. So that lets us have more transactions at a time. And it also lets us have faster confirmation times, which is really cool. Right now, our block time is we average 1 block per second. And shortly, as we begin to adjust the test net that's on the Rust high performance programming language, we're going to scale the time up to maybe like 5 to 10 blocks per second and see how that does. And once it's refined and stable, we'll have an event where the mainnet goes that fast, and then we'll probably have a second one at some point where we go towards anywhere from 16 to 32 blocks per second. So we really increase the block rate, and so that'll provide almost near instant confirmation time. So I can send you money and you can spend it like in the blink of an eye, which is pretty neat. You have a kid who ran out of gas and they're like, Mom, Dad, I need $20 for gas. Oh, wait, that was from a long time ago. I need $120 for gas, right? Yeah, and you can just send them the coin, Kaspa. You send them the Kaspa, and then you can blip it at the gas station and pay like before they even hang the phone up. So that's pretty neat. Like almost nothing else can do that. So that's really impressive, and that's like the super short version of our technology. The last thing, though, it's important to point out the technology is a generalization of Nakamoto consensus. So what that means in practical language is that it's a proof of work coin, and people around the world participate in mining the coin and receive rewards when they help. And so as a generalization of Nakamoto consensus, we inherit equal security to Bitcoin at a matching hash rate. Obviously, we don't have the same hash rate right now as Bitcoin, but we have a very high hash rate for a project that's 1.5 years old. So the possibility of 51% attacks and blah, 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 all kinds of nonsense is very minimal because it's already basically track proven technology from Bitcoin, but it's been increased and brought up to the next level of technology with multiple breakthroughs. So that's pretty cool. That's why we love it.
I also put in the KGI visualizer in the comments if anybody wants to take a look at it.
Awesome.
I think your original question, how do you sell this to them? Well, the KGI visualizer actually does a lot of the work for you. Once you see this, I mean, it's pretty stunning. It's amazing how like organic and how it looks like it's living. And once you get the concept that, hey, we allow all orphan blocks to exist and we just incorporate them, so that way there's no wasted computing power. It's kind of mind blowing. I can't believe somebody thought of it. Really,
I mean, like, just Wolfie mentioned. I opened it on my computer as well. I have been watching it since he mentioned. Um, it actually makes easier for people to understand because it's usually the same thing with the blockchain as well. Because if you go to some different block explorers, you see a lot of different hashes, a lot of different things, a lot of different data. If you talk about miner extracted value, things get a lot more complicated. But here, right now, if someone asks you what's a BlockDAG, all you have to do is just like Wolfie said, draw a line and then draw some blocks on it. It's the blockchain, and then you just go to that kgi.caspat.net, and then that's the BlockDAG you have. And also one more thing I just wanted to add to Wolfie. First time when I was using Bitcoin, I didn't realize that it was slow. And over time, I tried sending some money to some people, and it didn't arrive within an hour.
Sure.
And I was like, wait a minute, did I send it to the wrong address? Did I do something wrong? And then I, tried looking it up, and then I went to the Explorer, and it was like 0 confirmations. And I was like, wait a minute, what's a confirmation? I was thinking that because it was advertised in a way. I mean, if you guys remember, if you have been long enough in the crypto ecosystem, if there are listeners from 2009 2010s crypto, you would see that there were websites saying Bitcoin is the next gen digital currency. It's the digital cash. You can make instant transactions. You can buy different goods and services. You can pay for your coffee. And then there was like one specific ad that mentioned llama socks. Yeah. So yeah, and then I was thinking, okay, so this is basically like you just type an address, you hit send, and then it arrives. And I realized it's not the case. And I think over time, especially in 2017, because up until 2017 it was not as big issue before, and I think in 2017 when Bitcoin was going up, people realized that you had to pay $50, $60, $100 just to send $30 worth of Bitcoin,
Yeah.
and you had to wait a long time. And then I think that created the first downtrend of Bitcoin in towards the end of 2017, because people realized the fees and what the technology can offer, but what the limitations were as well. So now I am also, how do I say, happy to hear from you guys that you embrace the new technology, because usually people who have been in crypto for a long time, they're like Bitcoin is the only people's currency out there, and all the other projects are trash. They're not good. But at the end, they forget that including Bitcoin, most of the crypto projects are just an experiment, because we don't know if it's gonna work. We don't know what's gonna happen. We don't know if it's gonna be there in 10 years, 20 years, 50 years. We don't know what's gonna happen when we have a lot of developments in AI, a lot of different developments in quantum computing. We just don't know. And we keep building, so that's why it's really interesting that you guys have found something that you like and then stick to it. Because if you look at it, I mean, I am being exposed to a lot of different projects recently by community members, by different people, by my relatives. They're calling me and be like, hey, should I invest in that coin? And I'm like, if you're asking me that question, you want to invest in that project, and you know the answers that I'm going to say. So do whatever you want. So I just wanted to add that.
That's great.
So with the old technology type perspective, like they always say, all great empires will eventually fall, right? And we're kind of seeing that with fiat. So, I mean, everything has that chance of collapsing at one point. And it's kind of cool that you brought that up because we have a protocol. I don't know if you want me to segue into it, but we have the DagKnight protocol, and this is really going to help our scalability and future longevity. But it's up to you if you want me to dig into DagKnight.
Yeah, yeah, sure. You can dig in if you wish, because again, one thing you said is really interesting. People often blame the new technology or be suspicious about it when it first comes out, including cell phones, including internet, including television, even including cars that we are driving right now. But if you actually think about it, I think the oldest country right now that exists in the world is like 300, 400 years old, maybe 500 years old. And we have been having battles, wars, at least, I mean, every 50 years we could say. We literally had World War II like maybe 50 years ago, 60 years ago. There were countries that collapsed. There were, fiat currencies that went extinct, and the financial system is having problems every 10 to 15 years. So these are the facts that we can see, we can verify, and statistically, we know that there's going to be another financial, collapse within the next few years. So once you actually know that from an objective perspective, it makes you question the fundamentals of the fiat currency. Because if you actually think about it, I mean, I am doing something. Let's say I am getting paid for hosting this show, even though I'm not getting paid. Team Omchain, please hear me. Um, just kidding. I am the head of this team, so it's not gonna work. So the thing is, like, let's say that I was getting paid. It's something that I am doing right now. it has nothing to do with politics. It has nothing to do with politicians. It has nothing to do with bureaucrats. It has nothing to do with anyone in the world other than me, you guys, and the audience here. So it's my honest work, and I'm, let's say, getting paid for it. So how on earth someone comes and says, "Hey, I am adjusting the inflation rate so that your money is less valuable right now," or even, the exact opposite, more valuable right now. I mean, like, how can some external third party determine the value of my workforce without me doing anything different? I might be hosting this show today. I might be hosting this show next week. I had hosted, different Omchain talks weeks ago. So, like, I'm not doing anything different, but the money that I would be making becomes different. So, I think it's one thing that usually I am seeing from people is that they don't understand the concept of money. So that's why I think it's really important for people to understand the concept of money, and then the questions about, but there is no company behind it, but there is no government behind it, but there is no, I don't know, organization behind it, so it's not a real money. I mean, like, what's the real money, right? Sorry, Bubblegum,
Mm.
I was talking too long. You can go
Oh, you're
into the
good.
details now.
So, I mean, we made the mistake of weaponizing finance, right? So, I mean, that's where the downward style really started. But so back onto the great empire is following type thing. Kaspa's actually got a protocol that's they're working on. It's already the white paper's out. It's called DagKnight. You could just Google DagKnight, and it'll bring you to the whatever the academic paper. It essentially boils down into a nutshell. It's like we know that as time goes on, our network speed and our hardware and tech sector always gets better and cheaper. So right now, what's actually holding Caspa back is just network infrastructure and hardware. Um, so they decided to think about how we could use that to the full potential. So as time goes on, the network infrastructure and the hardware is eventually going to get better. And what most blockchains do now is they guess where the latency is going to be. So, like a Bitcoin, for instance, it's never going to have a faster than 10-minute block rate or whatever because it assumes latency is always going to be fixed to that. And it made sense at the time because they were playing it safe. However, as network health gets better, you can assume less and less latency. And what DagKnight is actually going to propose is to self-address and adapt to this latency and network health. So as the network speeds increase and get faster and faster, Kaspa will get faster and faster. If a section of the grid gets hit by like I don't know, an act of God and it, crushes the network, Kaspa will automatically self-adjust to the network speed of that area. So that way, go too fast and it plays safe. So as you can see on the KGI, it opens up with multiple blocks. That will open up and adjust according to latency. So Kaspa has that future thought in mind and that longevity. It's like, okay, we're seeing Bitcoin starting to age now. So how do we avoid that? And they came up with DagKnight. And what this is going to do is, hopefully keep it in existence as time goes on. And it's going to keep it relevant by doing so. You have more to add to that, Wolfie?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's the first parameterless protocol, and you gave a great description of it. And just somebody really smart having to mention that it's in their opinion, and it's a pretty credible opinion. It's the most substantial, or the most the biggest breakthrough in distributed computing since 2008, meaning Bitcoin itself. So that's pretty. That's a pretty bold statement, and I would take it pretty much as factual based on the person who told me that. So I'm not going to say who it was, but it starts with a Y. Anyway, yeah, so it's super cool, and the neat thing is also it's not just this promise thing. So how things happen at Kaspa is first, very intelligent and educated people come up with an idea. Then they write a proposal, like Bubblegum was mentioning, how you can have an idea. Anyone can have an idea. Have an idea of something I can do that's going to help the project, right? Some new thing or some platform or something that we can make. Then you propose how many coins would you like in exchange for performing this work, and you write down the proposal and how much you want, and then the community votes on it, and like, does everyone think it's a good idea, or do more people think it's a bad idea and they don't want to chip in for this? And then we get the answer, and then if it's a yes, then we open a Kaspa address, and people start putting in 500 coins, 10,000 coins, 100,000 coins, a million coins, however much it takes, and we see if we fill it up. So Rust, that high performance language that I mentioned, that was crowd funded, and we raised all the money by ourselves, and it's already paid for, and it's been mostly delivered. It's still going to be tinkered with and perfected, but it's already a functioning product, and that took about maybe 9 months, I think, maybe more,
Yeah,
maybe a
I
little
think
more.
about that.
Yeah. And then DagKnight was also crowdfunded, so it's already paid for. The money's been sitting in a Kaspa address for DagKnight for I don't know, at least 6 months, and so it's all locked in. And once Rust is done, or even simultaneously, they'll begin to take DagKnight from a research paper where it's already mathematically proven on paper to beginning to come into being a reality as a piece of software. So that's really cool how that happens.
I think.
Oh, you started
Oh,
talking and then
yeah,
you muted.
yeah. My microphone got muted. Sorry, guys. I think
No
it's
worries.
great that community can directly be involved in the development, and they can be funding proposals, because if you think about it, the current system that we have right now with the governments and local governments as well, we pay some taxes, and then we don't even know what happens to those taxes. We don't even see who gets to use it. We don't even know what happens to that money. I mean, we just trust some people and hope that they will be allocating those funds in a good way, right way.
Sure.
But crypto allows us to have something that's different than the existing system. Just like you guys said, you can, if you have the platform, of course, you can just say, "Hey, I want to do this." If people believe in it, they fund it, and then it gets real. It gets into the project. It gets into the protocol, or even it could be some dashboard or something. So it's really, I mean, like initially when I first the name Casper currency, I was like, I mean, I've been hearing a lot about projects calling themselves currencies, but is it, does it have the vision of a currency? Because in my personal opinion, if something has to be a currency, like Bitcoin, it should be independent. It should be, there should be, no central authority behind it. There should be no, how do I say, core team aside from the development team and so on. People should be deciding the fate and the future of the currency, because if you don't do that, then just like Bubblegum previously said, it becomes, how do I say, it gets weaponized, I can say, maybe.
Sure.
People start doing all sorts of different things to control it. People start doing all sorts of things to issue more. People start doing all sorts of problematic things to cause problems in the world. I mean, if you actually think about it, money perhaps is the number one reason of all the evil that we're experiencing right now. So even though right now we have been talking about blockchain, BlockDAG, technological advancements, protocols, but when I am seeing a project that is being governed by the community members, and it aims to be the next generation digital cash, maybe I could say that for Casper currency, I see a vision there. I see that okay, it aims to be the future's money. It might be there, it might not be there, but people are trying hard for it. So this was very, how do I say, very good, very good thing for me to hear those things from you guys, because often when I'm meeting with different projects, when I am reviewing their white papers, different things, it's all just promises, promises being made, promises being made, promises being made. and then nothing gets delivered. So
I love
thanks a
that
lot
you
for explaining those points.
I love that you say that too, because you'll see like the cryptos that pop up all the time that claim that they solved the blockchain trilemma. There's all of these claims that they solved the blockchain trilemma, but then there's always this one caveat where they don't. Well, the cool thing about Kaspa is it doesn't claim to; it actually solved it. And like I said, the only thing that's really holding it back right now is hardware and infrastructure. But as time goes on, that just gets better and better anyway. So as the network, gets better. But we already covered that. So yeah, that is
Sure.
the actual use case of Kaspa, and his ultimate goal is to be currency. It wants to not just replace fiat, but be the top currency or the new global reserve currency. And it's ambitious and it sounds, like idealistic, but that is what it's shooting for. And the way that we process these mass transactions, we actually could use Kaspa for everyday practical transactions. And that's our main goal. Now, there is other things that Kaspa is bringing to the table as well. It's kind of taken the best of Bitcoin with the ideals of being a currency, but it's also taking some of Ethereum. We do have plans for smart contracts on layer 2. It's not there yet. We're in the brainstorming phase, and anybody here is welcome to hop into the Discord and jump in part of this brainstorming phase. That's the beauty of the community governance. But we do plan on doing that, so then we can remove the banks and middleman as well. So we have currency, and we have the middleman, and then all finance could be potentially decentralized and used according to your demand or supply and demand and market forces and whatever else. And then, at some point, I'm sure staples will come along, and then that would be more practical for merchants. We're working on merchant tools. We have onboarded merchants now, but our merchant tools are a little weak. We're working on that, though, to start picking up more. And then soon, probably 6 months or so, I would say, we're going to start pushing for devs and merchant promotions, like trying to recruit more merchants and developers into this space and make this more of a reality.
Awesome. I love it.
Yeah, very well said. Because again, when it becomes a currency, people have the questions that I mentioned previously. Like no one's behind it. What's gonna happen? What about the price? What if it fluctuates and so on? Again, as I am saying, if you look at the US dollar right now, there is a inflation. You can't rent an apartment that you have been living in for maybe the last 10 years right now with the same amount of money, or even by doing the same job. So again, most of those questions associated with our understanding of finance. So I hope that in the future our understanding of finance evolves in a way that we realize, cryptocurrencies. I'm not saying blockchain based assets, because I also believe that especially for non-smart contract platforms, BlockDAG is the superior technology than the blockchain. For smart contracts, I have my own suspicions and criticism, but it's not the topic of today. But aside from that, I hope that people understand there's a better alternative. Just like you said, I mean,
Sure.
the technology is literally there right now. If you go to the Caspa's website, you can see all the resources, you can see all the research papers, you can see all the processes. It's not like, hey, it's gonna be built next week, it's gonna be built next month. No, it's already being built right now. You can literally use it. But again, it takes some time to change people's minds. And when financial crisis happen, when there's economical problems in the world, I don't see them as bad things. I see them as a chance for people to understand that the existing thing is broken. It's kind of like a toxic relationship. I mean, if you
Sure.
toxic relationship, you don't realize it until you have a huge fight, and then you just think to yourself, "Wait a minute! For the last few months, I am not happy. We have been having quarrels all the time. and then there was a big fight right now. Let's just break up with that person and move on with our lives. So in that sense, I am expecting such how do I say set shift, at least for the other people who are not aware of the technological advancements.
Nice. I like that. Very nice. Take on it. That's perfect.
All right, so I think it's already 50 minutes. We had, explored a few different topics about the Kaspa currency. We talked about a lot of different stuff. I expressed a lot of personal opinions. Sorry about that.
Oh, it's fine.
So yeah, we get to know Wolfie and Bubblegum Lightning. Should I say Bubblegum Lightning or is Bubblegum enough?
Bubblegum's fine.
Yeah, we met with Bubblegum. We met with Wolfie today. So, guys, before we close the show, do you have anything else that you wish to add? Anything that we have missed? Because if there are people from the audience who don't know anything about Casper currency or who wish to know more about it, you can just use the search thing on your Twitter account. You can just search for Caspa, and then you'll find the account at Caspa currency. If you're not following Casper Currency, you should be following them. You're doing a huge mistake. And then you can go to their bio and then you would see the link, caspa.org. Because it's being run by community, I assume the domain is caspa.org. And then you can find all the resources there. And then on the main website, they also have the BlockDAG visualizer. And then if you click the link below it, you can see it on as a full screen. Um, those are the things that I just wanted to add. Anything else from you guys?
Yeah, so on the main website, caspa.org, there's also the link for Discord and Telegram. Most of our community governance is on Discord. So if you want to be a part of Caspa or get involved or just learn more about it, it's a great starting point. If there's any votes or proposals that you have in mind, that's where they go. If you want to get a part of, get your hands dirty and get into some development or brainstorming, there's plenty of channels for you to apply your skills to. And if you're like me, where you can't develop and you're kind of just good at writing, I suppose, there's options for that as well. And if somebody there doesn't know, they'll point you in the direction of somebody who does know. So if you want to get into marketing, you'll probably talk to me or Rhubarb, or even potentially Wolfie. If you want to try to wrangle some exchanges, that's going to be Wolfie's area. Um, but yeah, so the best way to get involved and partake, if you want to keep Caspa completely decentralized and community governed, is take a part of it. So yeah, I'll close on that. Um, yeah, it was great talking though.
Excellent. Yeah, and thank you for hosting. You do have a very nice command of the English language, so I wouldn't be too concerned about anybody being able to understand you in English at
I
any
mean,
point for the rest
Wolfie,
of your life.
it's literally, I mean, not literally, but it's kind of 2 a.m. for me as well. So if I made any mistake,
Whoa!
please just excuse me.
Yeah. Hey, are you drinking Turkish coffee? I've had Turkish coffee. It's pretty strong. So that
I
might
had
be
like 5 Red Bulls this evening.
all right. There you go. Those also work. Awesome.
Yeah, the
So
next thing that I'm gonna do after this talk's probably call ER.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
to get the heart rate reduced a little bit. Let's bring it
yeah.
down to 2 digits again. Excellent. Yeah, well, yeah, you're a very gracious host. You speak English very nicely, and we, we are very thankful that you took the time to spend, to exert the effort to ask such interesting questions, and it's obvious you have your own curiosity about it. So that makes it a lot more fun for us. So we love it, and anybody who's interested in Caspa can swing on by Telegram. Like I said, we have rooms for many, many, many languages too. So if English isn't some of our listeners' first language, or they're not super great at listening to, understanding in English, they can come and meet people from Caspa that speak their own language and totally plug in and become part of the crew. Yeah, so other than that, everybody, we're looking towards springtime now, unless you're from Australia. And I hope everybody has a great spring and looks forward to a nice summertime and gets to relax and hold their coins and feel cozy. And hopefully we're coming towards a bull run in another year or two.
Whoop. Yeah, that's going to be sweet. Can't wait.
All right, guys, it was really awesome talk. I mean, like, I was curious about learning more about Casper currency, and then I think I can say that I learned a lot, but there's still a lot more things that I should be checking out after these talks. So, if the audience is also thinking the same, if you guys are, you know, as Wolfie and Bubblegum said, want to learn more about it, just go to their website. And if you're, again, still not following, even though I mentioned that you should be following, you should give them a follow on their Twitter account. So thanks a lot, guys, for joining us today. I hope that it was, how do I say? I hope that you had as much pleasure as I had today, because I learned a lot of things from you guys. And again, thanks a lot for joining.
Yeah, no
Hey,
problem.
man.
Thanks for
Thanks a
hosting.
lot. Yay. Good job.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Have a good night, man. Take
Yeah.
care.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.